Hey, what's going on guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today I'm going to be doing a first impressions of the Motus Strength JJF from VIVOBAREFOOT. And so, if you haven't noticed already, I am in Basement Brandon's gym right now. I just trained in these shoes. Basement Brandon and I shot some videos, and I am calling him Basement Brandon. That's actually his legal name first and last. But first impressions of this model, because I've had a lot of questions about it, is number one, I think if you are looking into a VIVOBAREFOOT shoe specifically, and you are super stoked on that brand and you are down to pay the price for this model, I do feel like this is going to be one of the better models for lifting. Typically, I will wear my Primus Lite III or my Primus Lite Knit, but this model's upper security tends to be a little bit better, at least from what my first impressions are with this shoe. Also, you do have this wrap back here on the heel to give you additional support. And with this extended outsole, you have a medial, lateral, and a toe box wrap here. I see the shoe as being a lot more, I think, versatile regarding its durability when it comes to cross-training context. With shoes like the Light Knit, one of my issues is spillover. And then with the Primus Lite III, one of my issues is that the mesh can, I think at times, like kind of break down and stretch if you're doing a lot of abrasion-focused movements like burpees and whatnot, where you might be having a little bit more rub. So this model, I think, should be a good bet for folks who are really wanting a VIVOBAREFOOT shoe for cross-training. And now that takes me into my second first impression with the shoe, which is its price. This model comes in at $200 USD, which is a big price to swallow for a singular barefoot shoe. And so that's why I don't think this shoe is going to be necessarily for everyone. And that's why I really want to draw attention to, if you're not going to be using this shoe for cross training and you just want a barefoot shoe for lifting and you want to save a little bit, I would say probably go Primus Lite III. That shoe is going to be like $150, $160. It works really great in the gym. Granted, it's not going to give you the same level of abrasion resistance, but it's going to cost a heck of a lot less, because with this model, once you factor in taxes and whatnot, this shoe I think ended up costing me like $230 plus, which is really, really steep for a singular barefoot shoe. My third first impression with this model is I really like the outsole tread in this shoe. So with the Primus Lite Knit and with the Primus Lite III, those are my two go-to shoes for training, which I've already mentioned, the tread is a little bit flat. And so what can tend to happen is if you're using that shoe a lot for daily wear as well outside of training and you're wearing it on concrete, that tread can start to fade. So with this model, you have a little bit more of an aggressive tread patterning, which I think is going to be a hit for a lot of folks. And I can see this being a better model now for turf use and for surfaces that might be a little bit more prone to slippage, especially if you're doing sled pushes, pulls, etc. So I do like that about this model. And honestly, I would love to see VIVOBAREFOOT implement this tread into like a Primus Lite III potentially, because I think that would give that shoe a little bit more range and versatility, or at least offer it as like a spin-off option. My fourth first impression with this shoe is that it fits a lot more true to size than the Light Knit and the Lite III. So this shoe fit very true for my size needs. So I have a medium to slightly wide foot. I went with a size 10. This is a size 10. I have no issues with the sizing, even when going barefoot or when wearing socks. The shoe, I feel like I have enough room in the toe box without having too much room to where I'm sliding around. And the width of this model feels very solid. So as you can see, we do have a pretty wide toe box, just like all the other VIVOBAREFOOT models. So I don't think width is going to be an issue in this shoe, despite its upper volume being a little bit lower through the toe box. So when it comes to sizing, I would say go true to size in this shoe. Now, there are no half sizes in this model. So if you are in between sizes, I would say if you have a wider foot, size up. If you have a narrower foot, size down. Because in this shoe, I have about like a finger width length at the end of my toe box. I don't mind that extra room because I'm hoping that my foot will continue to grow into this shoe, whereas like it's going to expand over time. Whereas if you have a narrow foot, you might want to size down because you might be sliding around a little bit. But for wider feet, I think actually going up might be the call, just to make sure you have enough room so you don't have to do the whole return process. And with how expensive this shoe is, that's going to be a pain in the butt. And so I don't want you to buy a shoe that obviously fits very poorly out of the gate. My fifth first impression with this shoe, and the last point I want to talk on in this video, is the lacing system and this heel back here. So I was unsure if I was going to like this heel, because with barefoot shoes, I typically don't want a ton of support or rigidity in my shoe, but I actually really like this. It doesn't have like a plasticky feel. It's more of like a rubber slash plastic hybrid blend. So it's not super jarring on the foot. And honestly, I didn't really notice it on the foot as well. So I don't think this heel piece is going to be an issue for most folks. And I do like the additional security from it. So in the context of locking down the foot, I think this is going to be a good thing, because again, in the two models that I prefer to train train in, I can sometimes slide around or spill over, and I think this is going to give you a slightly more secure foot in the heel. Up here in the midfoot, you also have these like TPU rubber wrap that goes up as the top eyelet. Now my only issue with this is not necessarily security or performance, because it worked well, is the long-term durability of it. I'm curious if folks are going to have any friction issues here with the laces breaking down. It looks like it should be okay though, because with this eyelet, it does look like it was kind of curated to be a little bit less prone to like causing fraying of the laces, and with these cylinder laces here, you are going to have a little bit more tenacity regarding their durability long term. So I'm hoping that works out. But regarding midfoot security, I actually really like this lacing system for the most part. It feels very natural on the foot, and that is a good thing, because I find that some of the Vivo Barefoot models can be a little bit awkward with their laces, or they can come undone really easily. This model I think is a little bit better. Granted, like you are probably gonna have to double knot this, because I think if you single knot it, it can come undone, especially if you're cross training. And I guess the last point to my 5.5 first impression is the toe box up here with its more rigid material. Vivo Barefoot says the shoe is breathable with its mesh. It's decent, but I wouldn't say it's the most breathable Vivo Barefoot model out there, because with this layered material up here, it's like this like heavier rubberish slash like TPU-y feeling material. It doesn't give you the most breathability, and then also the crease can be a little bit awkward in breaking the shoe in. So I think if you found creasing issues with your Vivo Barefoot models before, that would be something to consider with this shoe as well. I think this should go away over time, but because this material is a little bit more rigid, I do think you'll feel that a little bit more through the toe box, because I definitely did. It's a little bit prominent at times, but honestly, after even just like this first session, I have started to notice that go down a tiny bit. So I'm really optimistic that I'll hopefully continue to trend down, but obviously in my full review, I'll call this out again, because I need more sessions and more context in the shoe before we make definitive claims on its pros, cons, durability and whatnot. But based on my first impressions, I think that should break in over time, but it's definitely a little bit more noticeable in this model compared to other Vivo Barefoot shoes. But in the meantime, if you have additional questions on this model before my full review comes out, drop a comment down below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. And as always, guys, drop a like on the video, drop subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.